Right. So science could never give us this multi-dimensional map that we're talking about here.
No.
Because science would basically be stuck in Middle Earth studying projections.
Studying the program they created.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And studying a reality that is basically delusional, illusional, because they're stuck in this first person perspective and, and trying to understand the world from out of a first person perspective, which is completely it's almost like playing the video game as the avatar inside it and not seeing the avatar. So then you get a completely disfigured understanding. But the myth, why I said this, but the mythology, and which is what you get in the Lord of the Rings and in the Harry Potter and all of these, the Wizard of Oz. What you're getting in mythology is a multi-dimensional map based on this spectrum or this stairway. You see, so the stairway is actually the rainbow. And then you get the idea that at the end of the rainbow you get the gold. And the gold would then be when you're at the highest level of reflective thought on the one hand, or at the other hand you would get the lowest level, the highest level of reflexive thought. And then so these myths so then they show you that at the lowest end of the rainbow, which is really the lowest end, you get then the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz, which would be then this radioactive green city, which would then be the split of the atom. The atom is the self, and then at the higher end you would get the New Jerusalem, which would then be what you graduate towards at the beyond reflective thought, which would then be the whole work of Jung and the whole idea of the teachings of know thyself and the splinter and the beam. So all of these teachings, so you would get then that these teachings are of the reflectiveness is to get you up to go on to the higher kingdom. And then you have the lower, and then but the myth is the map, and science will only get at one level on this stairway, and the level where you are stuck in an illusion, which is what Buddhism calls the desert of illusions, where you're basically stuck in the idea that out there is loose from you, and right. So you see, Buddhism in its true essence is a contemplative practice. So reflective thought you could say that is contemplation. You would get real meditation, real contemplation, and real, for instance, prayer is supposed to be reflective thought. All of these are forms of reflective thought. But now they're being used in a very reflexive form to what you call then to get to bliss people out, and that's a whole new story also.
How would you be praying in a reflexive way then? What would be the wrong prayer? Give me money, please.
Exactly. I've spoken so often about this in terms of that you really need to learn how to pray. Because it's not just pray. If you want to pray, meaning you want to connect to the what you would call then the white sun, which would be the wholeness at the level at the other end of the rainbow, you could never reach there just in being split, and then you want to try to talk to the higher source. You would have to get into the what we would call in Jungian psychology the self mode. And then from that state there would be a connection. So true prayer would then be contemplative, meaning you would have to focus on yourself, reflect. And yes, so the whole idea then of God, take away this burden from me and save me, and it's all wrong. It's all reflexive prayer thought process to like take away the shadow.
It's not based on self-awareness. It's not based on consciousness.
Exactly, at all. And this is why the contemplative traditions all basically are saying that to get to the higher spiritual levels, you have to go through the idea of know thyself, which is reflective thought. So then, in the East, you would have to like undergo 20 years, if you wish, of practice to be able to get into that reflective mode in which a connection to the source would become possible. So yes, it has been completely misconstrued and applied in terms of the whole idea of splitting the mind up.
Yeah. Constantly I get back to this point of the splitting the man and the woman, the feminine and the masculine, and I'm like thinking now in this way that maybe reflexive thinking is more based on a masculine program, and then once you try to change that and you would like maybe become reflective, then you would ask yourself, okay, do I have a choice here? It's not really like what we are now more in the mode of, okay, we gotta find answers and solutions and we gotta fix this, and while reflective is actually taking the long road, and then you just have to wonder, okay, why am I mad? It's more like reflective is more like the feminine. It's like maybe nurturing that anger. Okay, why am I angry? It's more, and I guess when you change that, then you maybe would come to more self-awareness and say, okay, hey, I am this or I am that, and then like that you grow little by little, but based on awareness, but not based on, okay, what the program is telling me to do now. How am I fitting in this program? Is it your program?
Exactly. Right. The reflexive mode is based on division, right? And the reflective mode is based on union. Exactly. So it would be more feminine, or you could, and the dividing would be more masculine. So, yes, if you wish, the lower kingdom, the dark kingdom, would be a kingdom almost like void of the feminine, a very machine-like, reptilian, robotic place, which would be like the yang in its full extreme. The masculine completely devoid of the feminine, mechanical, metallic, metal.
Yeah.
And then you would get that the higher kingdom, which people would call heaven if you wish, or whatever, but that would be much more feminine. But you need to say that it would be a union of opposites. So, but it would be more. It would be much more. See, the lower kingdom would, if you follow the whole trail, it's the whole transhumanism idea is basically letting the machines take everything, improve everything.
Yeah.
And the earth is organic and is
meaningful.
Yeah, and that approach would want to leave Earth eventually. This is an approach that will eventually take people off Earth, because and also make the Earth into something very technological and mechanical, and if you wish, get as far as possible from the Earth, because that's the feminine. But yes, you see, this is why you need to be able to see that the yin and the yang is red and blue, fire and water. But in all mythology, in all of mythology, you would get that. So that's not heaven and hell yet, or the lower and the higher kingdom. But you will find then that always the lower kingdom will be depicted with red.
Yes.
And the higher one with blue. This is in the Matrix also the meaning of the red and the blue pill. Because the red is the so yes, the lower world will be very yang, very masculine, very fiery, mechanical, metallic, and the heaven will be very blue. That will be much more yin. I think this is what you find is back in, but of course it will be an integration of the two. No, it's not going to be feminine alone. The feminine without the masculine is also in a great danger. But it is, I think, if you compare it to the to Earth right now, the pH we need to to be healthy. You need your pH needs to be a little more alkaline than acid. This is why you need to eat much greener. You need much more green, much more yin in your diet than yang. But you also need yang. Right? It's a more, so I think it's a balance, but with a lot of blue in it, a lot of yin, a lot of feminine.
Yeah, I think the transhumanism is just taking it off the axis.
Right.
It's just totally not human no more.
No.
But and on the other side, it's not human no more neither.
What
the
other
city
side?
of light.
What's not human anymore?
Then people are, they're really talking about angels and light beings.
Well, no, because you would get, that's the version that has been sold to us in a very disjointed way. It would not be that. It would be, I believe it will be very, very Earth-like, but in its original state. So we already get glimpses of it now. And when the Earth is already very heavenly. If you see the synchronicities and you see the way the Earth is conscious, and you would just get more of that. So you would have a much more intimate interaction between us and nature, almost like direct. So it's not this etheric heaven, abstract, ghostly place. I think that's the way it has been programmed into us, like in a way to make you not want to go there or whatever, make it some otherworldly place. To the contrary, I think it's just what we are now experiencing is like an illusion. But there is a lot of reality still. For instance, real food, real nature is still very real. People, so you would get that. You would get real reality. It would just be extremely real, the real thing. Like now we're sometimes
cut off of nature.
Yes.
And now you would be more integrated and
Yes.
conscious and aware of nature.
Yes.
And how you are part of it.
Yeah.
And everything is.
It would be like a paradise.